average age of first heart attack? The average age of first heart attack in US is around 65 years average. But some people get early, like in their 40s or 50s because of this lifestyle. And we are having like the another problem is mainly in South Asians because you're here. We are having a big epidemic going on in India and South Asia where 50% of the heart attacks are happening under 50 years of age, and that's pretty alarming. Okay, so why do you think we should sit here and have this transformation? Because 70% people get heart attack as first symptom. Your heart is crying inside, it doesn't say anything. Okay, so it's very, very important to help our heart so that we don't get this heart attack, we don't have to go through the surgeries, and we have to focus on prevention. Make sense? So let us understand, because we are talking about making our lives better, and it is going to take little effort. And whenever we are putting in some effort and time, we always want to know why we are doing it, right? What is the goal? And why we need to prevent, why it is not good to have heart attack. So what happens is that you get a blood clot, the heart muscle gets damaged, okay, and half of the people don't survive heart attack. That's very important to prevent. Now even if you survive, then there is a possibility that your heart can get damaged, and that's why if you see heart disease is a #1 killer, and people, there is heart failure and all those things. Okay, now second aspect is that it doesn't only end in the heart attack or there. What you will end up getting is either a stent, we do angioplasty, which is a surgical procedure, and we after that also the blockage comes back. Sometimes we have to do open heart surgery where we cut open the bone and there is grafting. So it's a very lot of invasive things are done on you, lifelong medication side effects. So the whole goal here is today what we are talking is how to be drug free, stay away from hospitals and stay away from emergencies. Who is with me on this? Okay. Thank you. Then you're qualified to sit here. Otherwise, I would have said, okay, bye bye. Anyways, so all my life as a preventive cardiologist, I have always spoken on prevention of heart attack, but unfortunately, most people meet me when they have failed angioplasty or a bypass or no option. And even those people we have helped with what I'm going to talk about, lifestyle changes and the device which Mark is talking about. So if you see this in surgery, there is a blockage which cut and stitch another grafts, but blockage can develop there. Now, why I'm sharing this is because there is a myth going on here that, oh, I have an insurance, I go to the hospital, they are going to fix me. I take this medicine, they're going to fix me. Okay? But if you look at the research, I'm quoting about Stanford, okay? Most of the, like they have spent more than $100 million, 3-4 universities, NIH funded study, and they have found out that stents and bypass surgery actually are not very beneficial in most of the cases, in stable cases. But what is happening that worldwide, most of the people, heart attack, surgery and all that stuff. And maybe Dennis later on wants to share his story. I call him a champion because he has undergone so many cardiac procedures, and he's a testimony to what I'm talking actually. So it is very important to get this knowledge that whenever any surgical procedure has been told, it's always good to take a second opinion. It's very important. Second thing is that the Cleveland, there is, if you go on their website, 90% heart disease is preventable. So we are on a mission out here that, and you can support us if you like what I'm talking, that if 90% of heart disease is preventable, then why we are having so many people, like 1 in 4 getting a heart problem in this country? Where we are going wrong in our healthcare model? Obviously, our healthcare model is a sick care model. Insurance is not covering what is preventative. You will only be covered when you get a heart attack. Before that, everybody is just like floating and I would say manufacturing the disease, but they are unaware. So I said today is transformative because we are going to talk that how can you become more mindful and aware so that we don't land up in such situation. Okay? So whatever I'm talking is backed by all the major institutions. Okay? So, but as I told you that it is not done. So I'll just a little bit share about my story that what brought me to US. So I was like doing this preventive cardiology, very happy, never wanted to come. In fact, I had multiple entry visa, but I never wanted to come here because I wanted to serve my country. And the programs which we did were an alternate to surgery. So I used what I'm going to talk about, lifestyle changes and this device, and we proved that more than 90% surgeries are not required. I did all this research. Now I am writing here that okay, why are you doing surgeries? Why don't you see alternate? But they don't accept research from India. So I said okay, and everyone in India follows what the research comes from US. So I said okay, now I have to pack my bags and come here, because if I work here and if I can create a data and awareness that okay, this is something. So what I'm talking is actually the future of heart care. What we are achieving here with what we are trying to do here is create education awareness. So we have a non-profit which I'll be talking a little later about, and we have a proper practice of a clinic where we are helping people who really want to do prevention with the programs what we have, which I'll be sharing. So I had all this stuff. I was awarded as a best woman entrepreneur. I had 15 centers, huge team, 100,000 of patients. We did a lot of work and proved all these things. But as I told you that US healthcare is constantly focused on doing surgeries, and that's the reason I'm here. What is the first thing which is there? Anyone has heard of Dr. Dean Ornish? Okay, so so Dr. Dean Ornish in 90s actually did this research where even Dr. Mark was a part of it as a director in the scripts when he was there, and he proved that heart disease could be reversed with lifestyle changes. Okay, now all of you, many of you are young and want to prevent a heart thing. So first thing is that I call it the happy method. Heart screening is very important. Like we do this cholesterol is just one test, but there are a lot of other things like inflammation and all which needs to be tested, level of omega-3s. There are a lot of things which are culprit actually in creating those blockages. Okay, so we focus on screening your heart and getting all the risk factors which can likely create a cardiovascular event. Then we talk about your thoughts and emotions. How is your mind working? We focus on the mind, body, spirit. That's also very important, and we have seen a connection that how it helps. Maybe Dennis is also again like he can talk about it. Then we focus on plant-based diet. We are not like very like okay, you have to be 100% plant-based, but at least start focusing on that, because 50% of the heart problems are attributed to faulty diet. And you see, I don't know whether you visited the hospital's cafeteria. Or even the food. Most of the times you never get anything healthy, right? So diet is the most important, and we can't blame the doctors because 0 hours of training in nutrition during our medical schooling. So no one wants to talk about it, but that contributes to the problem, yeah. Then exercise. How you exercise and how that also impacts a lot on your cardiovascular fitness. But when you have a heart issue, then your whole goals of exercise change, and how to make it safe where you don't get a heart problem again. So this is what we have. And finally, we talk of breath work, mindfulness, meditation, yogic practices, because apart from my MD in allopathy, I also did all the alternate naturopathy, Ayurveda, homeopathy, yoga, everything. I got certified. So I like to combine the best of the Western medicine and the best of the Oriental medicine and create a evidence-based program. Because whatever we do, we have to ensure that you're getting results. So far so good? Everyone is okay? Good. Now if you see over here that if you see, this is a cross section of the artery, okay? And one thing as seniors, once anybody becomes like 55, 60, we have to understand that if we get any blockages, that is an aging process. Okay, it is written in our textbooks. It's an aging process. But if you're getting before earlier, like we are getting a lot of people with 40s and 50s with heart issues, that is premature. Okay, so if you have blockages, that's fine, because even if you see in the scriptures in Egypt, they have documented this disease. In India, in our scriptures, 4,000 years ago, they have documented this disease, and people were living for 150 years. So every time we have this, oh, I have a blockage, I'm going to die, and this is going to happen, and that is going to happen, there is a lot of, I think, fear created around heart disease. So even today, if you step out not having fear, I think we have done the job, Okay, so when we are working here, we see a lot of, like, whether your blockage is stable or not. We do a lot of testing because we want to be safe, and we want to select that we are, if anybody requires surgery, that's fine, but if you are not, then that is what we test over here. Okay, so we do all those things. Then about the mind training, we have all these programs. We are going to do a workshop, actually, if anybody is interested, on Feb 24th, we are doing a 4-hour workshop, which is all about these details about this method which I am talking. So anybody wants to dive deep, we are doing a workshop which I will tell you. Now coming to the little bit of action, like, because lifestyle changes is your part, okay? But many people, even when they do lifestyle changes, they still get issues. So that is where I came across external counter pulsation, which is a device which increases the circulation to your whole body. Okay, so I'm a little bit now going to talk about that. Anyone who is interested, we have the device right here. After the talk, if you want, I can just take you around and we can share more stuff on it. I'm just giving you some general idea about it. So what does this device do? Like, as Dr. Mark said, that we tie the cuffs on the calf, the thighs and the butts. We hook you up with the EKG, and then with every beat of your heart, we are pushing blood to your heart, your brain and kidneys and all that stuff. Okay, so it is like a complete circulation boost. Now, so this story began in 1990s. It started with actually the heart patients getting this. Okay, they did the clinical trials, got FDA approved. So in United States, it is FDA approved for people with chest pain who have undergone surgeries. Okay, and what it does is that it reduces chest pain, it increases energy and stamina, it increases circulation, it improves your rest and sleep, and we have seen people walking better, exercising better. Okay, now what we are doing, which is path breaking over here, is that we have opened this indications to a lot of other groups of people, which I'm going to talk about. Okay, because my journey started in Stony Brook, where I got trained. So as I told you that I owe everything to US, whatever I am today, because I got trained here. And then, so when I went back to India, I had this hospital, and people were not, because India is culturally a little different. They don't like all these surgeries and all that stuff. So I had many people, oh, I will not do a surgery. So I started doing with this device, and boom, in fact, I have written a book, Living Without Heart Surgery, and 20 years they have been surviving without it. Okay. Now, in 2015, something amazing happened. Okay. There is this billionaire who actually had some issues with the legs, started working on this device, and it started becoming better. and he started doing studies on wellness. So he started studying VO2 max and working with the athletes, working with all the normal people. So we started doing a lot of studies to overall population, how it can benefit. So that's why we have put this device now in a wellness center, because it is now going to be, I'm going to share the data that it is how it is benefiting everyone. So what exactly it does is, if you see, these are the cuffs, okay? When the heart is relaxing in diastole, because there are doctors out here, we have Dr. Neelam out here. So when the heart is relaxing in diastole, we are pushing in the blood, okay? And if you see on the right side, it opens all the small branches, what we call collaterals, okay? So as you saw in surgery, they are not removing the blockage, they are just cutting and stitching. So the whole goal actually is to increase blood supply to the heart. That's the goal. So if we want to make our heart strong, we have only one thing to do, that keep on having more blood supply to the heart. Okay, so this is what it does. It increases the blood supply to the heart. And some fun fact, all of you, if you choose to do this naturally without the device, it requires 5 years of Olympic level training. I don't know whether you're prepared for that or you have time for that, okay? So, this device in 35 hours opens up the collaterals in your heart, which you could achieve in 35, like 5 years of Olympic level training, okay? So this is what it does. So these are some studies which are there, which they did. So because as I told you that it is backed by science, they did clinical studies before and after of studying the blood supply to the heart, which is a thallium scan they did. Now beyond the heart, we have seen improvement in blood pressure. Like literally, I think I can say that I'm one doctor who is always happy knocking off medications. You know, I'm always like in 35 days, so much of medications come down, because as you get this increased boost in your body, the blood pressure drops because your heart is functioning better. The load, the burden on your heart actually reduces. Okay, then people who are having chronic fatigue, we have seen improvement. People with diabetes, we have seen improvement. People with like peripheral vascular, like pain in the legs and all, we have seen improvement. We have studies in long COVID, which was published in American College of Cardiology journal. People who have undergone COVID and they have this brain fog, tiredness. So people with those have benefited. We have worked extensively with people with heart failure, restless leg syndrome, Parkinson's, and also erectile dysfunction. So there are a lot of benefits beyond the heart. And like, I think you were interested in the blood flow, right? Yeah, so University of Kansas, they did the study. They found that there is a cognitive benefit. In fact, they did the brain MRI scans, and before and after those black areas where the blood was not there, they saw that the blood is there. So now actually we are undergoing the final phases with the FDA clearance for Alzheimer's, because that is type 3 diabetes, right? It's a huge problem in US, and right now we don't have any treatment actually as such for Alzheimer's. And amazing things we observed in the trials, like people cannot verbalize in Alzheimer's. They started talking, and some people, I mean, have you heard anyone getting discharged of Alzheimer's from the nursing home? People got discharged, so it increases the blood supply to the brain. So anyone who is having mental health concerns or wanting to boost that blood to the brain, this is. Bless you. Coming to sports, now there are young people who would like to be fit, so they did the VO2 max study. Universities have done, like, even in fact Dr. Mark of course is very scientific. First I was telling all these things, oh okay, you're from India, you have been doing all these things, but then I took him to UCSD because UCSD is doing a study. So there are a lot of things which are there. So we went to UC San Diego, where he saw the device, because the soccer teams and all this baseball teams and all are using this device in UCSD, and they are doing the study on concussion and all. So it has got a lot of improvement with people with sports in muscle recovery in their athletic performance. I know that sometimes you feel it's too good to be true, that how can one device help so many people, right? But we can say that this device is your second heart. Your first heart is pumping blood to the whole body, right? And this device, the way it operates, is like your second heart, because it is assisting your heart to perform better. Okay? And of course, all of you have heart. So it is going to benefit everyone to perform better in whatever stage they are. Okay? So like I started working in actually 2000, and somewhere like it started coming in the textbooks in 2015, 2016 and all. Okay, so this is a very relatively new stuff what we are doing. It is just written as a paragraph in medical textbook. Most of the doctors don't know about it. So I'm sure that now you'll get excited. You try to ask people, oh, I went to the seminar, I read this. But please don't blame them, because even I did study when I was in my medical college, right? This is all continuous medical education, and people are so busy that people don't keep updated with what's going on, many times. So, but I will share with you right now that what is the level of evidence out here, because there are a lot of medical professionals out here in this room. So you all know that American College of Cardiology is #1 right now resource for the entire world. So ECP for long COVID has been published there. And every year, American College of Cardiology and AHA, they give guidelines to cardiologists all over the world about the efficacy of the treatments. Okay, so it is also mentioned in the guidelines actually of this, and it is at a level of evidence 2B, which means that majority agree that this device is actually doing the job of increasing blood flow. Okay, but as I told you that right now the problem with the system is that the doctors, the cardiologists are not directly involved in giving this. They just have to endorse it, and the treatment is given by a cardiovascular technician. And most of the doctors, they like to do procedures, So that is where you will say that, okay, then why it is not so popular? But if you look over here, this is there since 2000 in all these big institutions. As I told you that my story started with Stony Brook, it's in John Hopkins, Mayo, Cedars-Sinai, like tons of places, like more than 1,000 places, but it's just there in the corner because it's non-invasive, drug-free, and hardly like 7,000 reimbursement, not fancy. Because when I do procedures, my reimbursement is 100,000. Okay, so before, because I have been here for 10 years, I did a lot of things. I was constantly trying to work with cardiologists. I tried to reach out to like almost 30 major hospitals in US. They like what I'm saying, but then it doesn't make, I think when we decided that healthcare is a business, that's where we went wrong. It's my personal opinion, I don't know, but I feel that healthcare is a basic human necessity and we should not mix business over here. It has to be at the highest level of patient care and what is in the interest of the patient. So I am standing here, Mark is with me. We are here because we believe that we want to share this truth with the people, that we have to do what is best for you. And I am standing here because I feel that going with lifestyle changes doesn't cost anyone. It's a good thing to do. This device does not cost. This is something which has to be, it is non-invasive, right? So this is something which has to be the future. So right now we are working on cash-based stuff, but our goal is that how can we create evidence and get into insurance? That's the reason we are teaming up and getting all like-minded doctors and health professionals to change this paradigm of healthcare. Like as you saw with Cindy, right? Statins. Everyone is just put on statins, and statins have so much of side effects, So what we are doing is like helping with evidence people to go off medications if they want to do it. Okay, so that is one thing which we work. So when we're talking of this heart strong, making your heart strong, we are having three groups now here. One is, as I told you, that athletes and fitness people who want to work with us. The people who have got certain risk factors like blood pressure, diabetes, cardiometabolic syndrome, and who are likely to get a heart issue. And of course, the third is people who have heart issues, who have undergone heart attack or surgeries and want to avoid another. Now, see, the fun part is another thing, that do you know that 25% people get heart attack after getting the first heart attack? So if everything is working, the medications are working, surgeries are working, then why 25% people are getting another heart attack within 5 years? So we need to question all these things now, because we are just like trying to suppress the problem and not going to the root cause. And what we are working over here, as Cindy spoke, is going to the root cause, because the answer is in the body, mind, body, spirit, and just totally just focusing on the body. So we very much support all the physical treatments which are done in the hospitals, but I feel that they are not end of all. Work needs to be done. He found me, and so we are seeing that a lot of people actually are needing help, and the conventional care is not able to help them, and that's the reason, that was a motivation for us to have this center over here. And thanks to Dr. Mark, Dr. Vasu, the team what we have.